I'm Chuck Parry, and this is my resurrection story. When I was about 25 years old, this was maybe 1975, I had had an encounter with Jesus Christ and surrendered my life, but I knew nothing about him and didn't know any Christians at all. I was living in the mountains of Colorado, and I went on a bike ride. It was about a 20-mile bike ride. And as I was on this bicycle coming down the mountain, I was going really, really fast, and suddenly I looked down and I saw the front wheel of my bike disengage. And all of a sudden everything happened in slow motion. I could see the wheel roll down the road, I could see the forks of the bike go into the dirt, and all of a sudden I was flying forward. And I hit head first, and immediately on the impact I was soaring outside of my body, just going, and it was as if it was a long windy tunnel. It reminded me of the windpipe of an animal when you butcher an animal. It's just this corrugated long light thing, and all of a sudden I ended up in this amazing, glorious place that was, the light was brilliant, but there wasn't a sun or a moon. It was golden and silver, just this amazing light that permeated everywhere. And I was in this, like a plaza by a placid lake with beautiful trees all around, and a kind of governmental building there with big pillars. And I was with these robed beings, and I had no grid for this at all. I didn't know anything about, I hadn't really read the Bible, I didn't know anything about heaven. But I was with these ancient ones, is what I called them, and they were robed figures. They were like apostles or prophets, and they were speaking to me, and I was speaking to them. But it was telepathic. They knew what I was going to say, and I knew what they were going to say. And all of a sudden, it was as if my mind was filled with I called it the wisdom of the ages. I understood everything. I understood my purpose for life, or the purpose for life on earth, the destiny's plans, design of everything. It was just, I understood it all. It was fascinating, and so I would ask questions and get answers and know more, and it was as if I were there for hours. And then at one point, one of these ancient ones said to me, "Well, actually, you need to go back." And I was excited. I understood everything. I was excited to go back, and so it's a puzzlement how it happened, but somehow I dove back down through this light, and I saw my body sprawled out there on the ground. And as I'm soaring down into it, I heard this voice from heaven speaking, and it said, "This one's going to hurt." And just then, boom, I hit my body and just bounced up off the pavement. And I'm sitting there, and I didn't know at the time, but blood was all crusted all over my head and pouring down my head. And but my mind was in another place. I still understood all the wisdom of the ages, and the glory of heaven was all over me in my eyes. And at that point, a Volkswagen van had stopped on the road right by where I was. And this was 1975, and all of these hippies had come running out of the van to collect me. They'd seen me sprawled out on the road, and this one guy, he was real fuzzy haired and had overalls on, came running up and looked in my face, and he said, "Man, you look psychedelic." So they wanted to get me to a hospital because they realized that there was something seriously wrong, and I was really disoriented, but I was more in touch with the wisdom of the ages and understanding the purposes for life than I was with what was happening around me. And I didn't want to go to a hospital, didn't want to go to a clinic. They're kind of trying to pressure me, and all I wanted to do was be alone, because I could sense this understanding was receding, it was ebbing away. And so I knew where they lived, and I said, "Hey, take me to your house," because I knew there was a creek that went through their farm. And I thought, I just want to sit by the water, and I want to, just glory in this wisdom that's receding. And so they took me to their farm, and they put my bicycle on the roof of their van. It was all trashed. And when I got there, I was talking about water because I wanted to sit by the water. And they thought I wanted to go in the bathroom and wash my face. I had no idea what I looked like. So they took me into the bathroom, which was a big mistake because I looked in the mirror and it's like a big gash and blood and dirt all ground into my face. So I washed some off and I just went, I've got to get out of here. I really just want to embrace this that I'm understanding. And I finally talked them into taking me home. They took me to my house, and I lay on the floor for about 2 hours, and it was like watching a movie go by. All of this wisdom of this ages and this understanding was receding, and I was just watching it go and just glorying in it. But the more it went, the more just the present came in, and then as it all faded away, this amazing concussion, just this pain and throbbing pain. And actually I lay on my floor in my house for 3 days with this incredible concussion. One night I drank a whole bottle of homemade wine just to stop the pain, and then on the 3rd day it was gone. I got up and went back to work around the farm. Never went to a doctor, never went to the hospital, but I was so much more connected to that wisdom of the ages and the mindset of heaven, that's what I began to pursue, and that's the thing I became the hungriest for. And so that was a period where I started getting into the Word, and there are times when I would read the Word when all of a sudden all of this understanding would start to flow back in and go, wow, that's that. And so that was my experience with going to heaven and coming back.
It is